Many businesses are bracing for what could be a sluggish summer. Visitors are even being told by their home countries to take their vacations and money elsewhere.
Tourism in Las Vegas is in a big slump this summer, costing the city billions of dollars. Some are saying that could signal trouble ahead for the U.S. economy.
Stunning images of near-empty passenger planes are popping up on social media. These international flights have many tourists flying to the USA practically alone.
The figures are astounding as you read this. The travel and tourism sector in America is now losing money at a pace things would cause alarm among even the largest companies. We are discussing losses so great that whole cities are seeing the real-time collapse of their economy. Race the startling bit, however, while industry experts are raising concerns about a complete collapse, the government is praising record-breaking tourist statistics. What's going on behind the glitzy headlines? Nobody wants to acknowledge the reality, which is far more complicated and horrifying. Independent research organizations are presenting an entirely different image of tourist earnings for the first half of 2025, despite official government figures boasting of about $1269 billion. In May, the World Travel and Tourism Council shockingly revealed that America might lose $125 billion in foreign tourist spending this year alone. However, it is just the start of this developing catastrophe. The World Travel and Tourism Council's president and CEO Julia Simpson didn't hold back when she sent what many are referring to as a wake-up call to Washington. At the moment, our members are pretty worried the businesses are delaying their recruiting. The U.S. government has to take note of this. Simpson said that the largest travel and tourist business in the world is going in the wrong way because action was not taken, not because there was insufficient demand. U.S. administration is displaying the closed sign while other countries are extending a warm welcome because her group speaks for the commercial sector, which generates revenue from tourism rather than the government organizations that compile data. Her statements are given more weight. The problem is striking like a perfect storm from many angles. America's nearest neighbor, Canada, which has historically been one of its main tourist destinations, has all but ceased sending visitors. The number of land crossings from Canada has dropped by a startling 28%. Air arrivals, however, fell 133%. Take a time to consider it. Almost 3 out of 10 Canadian tourists who would typically cross the border by car are just remaining in their native country. International tourism is predicted to decline by 269% in places like Seattle. Detroit is facing a 173% drop, and Portland is seeing an 183% decrease. But Canada's comeback is just one piece of the jigsaw. The continent of Europe, which is home to millions of wealthy visitors, is also losing ground. German and French tourists are down dramatically. According to some accounts, European tourists have decreased by 17% during what should have been the busiest travel period. We are not referring to low-cost backpackers here. European visitors usually shell out a lot of cash for upscale dining establishments, opulent accommodations, and pricey Fifth Avenue and Rodeo Drive shopping excursions on the streets of America. The human cost of this catastrophe is becoming apparent. Hotels that used to be crowded with foreign visitors are laying off employees. Eateries and popular tourist destinations are cutting down on their hours as fewer high-end overseas consumers visit their stores. Even luxury shops are seeing a decline in revenue. Some companies are already permanently disappearing in tiny communities that rely only on seasonal tourists. This is when the exciting part begins. Government representatives hail record numbers, but independent analysis reveals otherwise. According to reputable research organization Oxford Economics, foreign immigration would decline by 82% in 2025. It's not a little dip. Millions of tourists are missing as a result. The U.S. Travel Association is even more dire, estimating that if present patterns continue, there may be $21 billion in losses. The American economy loses $18 billion for every 1% decline in foreign visitor expenditure. The causes of this collapse are as complicated as they are concerning for international tourists. Everything is more costly due to the high U.S. dollar. That ideal trip to New York might suddenly cost 20 or 30% more than it did the year before when your currency is depreciated against the U.S. dollar. Instead, a lot of travelers are just picking less expensive locations. However, there are other factors than money that deter travelers. The president and CEO of the U.S. Travel Association, Jeff Freeman, presented a troubling image of the current obstacles faced by overseas tourists at U.S. borders, there is a perception that more people are being detained, more devices are being searched, and lawful travelers are being sent back to their home countries, Freeman said CNBC. Regardless of whether this is warranted, this causes a great deal of dread. Another important factor is the state of politics. Government policies were specifically mentioned by Aaron Ryan, Director of Industry Research at Tourist Economics. Potential tourists are facing emotional challenges as a result of the rhetoric and policies around trade tariffs and border security. Flight reservations to the U.S. fell between May and July compared to the same time last year, with Canadian bookings plummeting by 33% and European bookings declining by over 10%. America's tourist crown gem, New York City, is particularly heavily hit. The city that never sleeps is seeing a 17% decline in tourists. There are fewer foreign visitors to famous restaurants, world-renowned museums, and Broadway theaters. The whole nation is affected when New York experiences hardship. Hayrace, the surprise, however, that heightens the drama of this tale. Some public servants are presenting a very different image. Howard Lutnick, the U.S. Secretary of Commerce, recently praised what he termed record tourist figures, saying they demonstrate that America is about to enter a golden era. Under Secretary William Kimmett reaffirmed similar assertions, stating that the record-breaking figures demonstrate the U.S.'s power and allure as the top tourism destination in the world. Who is speaking the truth? Then how you count the numbers will reveal the solution. Total expenditure, which includes domestic travel and may be increased by increasing costs, is the subject of government data. Independent research companies examine certain market sectors, and visitor statistics both may give whole different tales while yet being technically valid. Every day the competition becomes more intense. Other nations are welcoming foreign visitors while America has challenges with unfavorable opinions and exorbitant prices. New travel locations in South America, Africa, and Asia are providing distinctive experiences at more affordable costs. Mexico, Japan, and Spain are establishing new tourism customs with tourists who may never set foot on American soil again. The long-term effects are astounding. There is more to tourism than simply lodging and dining. It produces tax income for local governments, sustains employment across whole communities, and improves the image of America abroad. The harm extends far beyond the tourism sector itself when international tourists cease visiting. Certain cities that rely significantly on Canadian tourists are dealing with very difficult circumstances, according to the statistics. Locations close to the northern border may see catastrophic declines in income this year. One unfavorable season might be the difference between a tiny community that depends on tourism continuing to operate and permanently closing. Perhaps the most concerning aspect of all is the speed at which this deterioration is occurring. According to a number of reports, the decline is not only ongoing but accelerating. If present patterns continue, 2025 could seem moderate in compared to next year. Whether America's tourist sector is in peril is no longer the issue. How terrible things will go before anything changes is the question. One thing is becoming quite evident as millions of prospective tourists choose for alternative locations and foreign arrivals are declining. America's standing as the most popular travel destination in the world is rapidly deteriorating. Additionally, the billions of dollars that we're going to may never return. We want to hear from you before you goes the current tourist slowdown in America a short-term setback or the beginning of something more significant? Please share your opinions in the comments section below. Let's begin the discussion. Click like, subscribe, and ring the bell if you thought this breakdown was helpful so you don't miss any updates. Don't click away just yet either. Now tap the video on your screen to understand why tourists are swarming across the Atlantic. Consider how Europe recently dominated the American travel market. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next